Tell Me Lies, Grace Van Patten and Jackson White are opening up about the explosive series finale of the hit Hulu drama, and they are not holding back. In an exclusive conversation with ET, Entertainment Tonight, the co-stars reflected on the emotional weight of the final episode, the complicated dynamics between their characters, and where they believe the story could go next. After a season filled with betrayal, manipulation, and toxic love, the finale delivered intense confrontations and unexpected revelations that left fans divided, especially when it comes to Team Wrigley and Bree versus Team Steven and Lucy. Throughout the interview, Grace Van Patten and Jackson White made it clear that the ending left a strong impression on them. The finale centers heavily on Lucy's unraveling as the consequences of her choices finally catch up with her. Lucy is plagued by secrets, haunted by the infamous tape, and spiraling into self-hate. As viewers watched her struggle, they saw a character who was finally forced to confront the impact of her actions. According to Grace Van Patten, Lucy begins to recognize how little she loves herself in that moment. Instead of healing, she shuts down emotionally, and that isolation only makes things worse. The darker scenes this season were particularly challenging. Lucy's emotional state becomes increasingly fragile as her relationships fracture. Her connection with Steven remains deeply toxic, while other friendships crumble under pressure. Grace Van Patten explained that Lucy is finally facing the weight of her poor decisions. She is no longer running from them. Instead, she is sitting in the discomfort of knowing she has hurt people and herself. That realization is painful, and the performance demanded vulnerability and restraint. Rather than dramatic outbursts, Lucy internalizes much of her turmoil, creating a quiet but devastating portrait of self-destruction. One of the biggest talking points of the finale involves the Lucy, Evan, and Bree drama, with Wrigley becoming an unexpected emotional anchor in the chaos. When asked about their reaction to how everything unfolded, both actors admitted they were firmly Team Wrigley and Bree. While acknowledging that their relationship began dishonestly, they still see something genuine there. Jackson White suggested that sometimes love forms in imperfect ways, reflecting the messy reality of life. Despite the questionable beginnings, they believe Wrigley and Bree belong together and might even represent the closest thing to true love within the series' complicated web. In contrast, Steven's behavior in the finale pushes many fans firmly into anti-Steven territory. One of the most memorable scenes features Steven unleashing his resentment in a brutal confrontation. He tears into Evan with shocking intensity, delivering lines that feel years in the making. The scene is explosive, with Steven metaphorically burning everything to the ground. For Jackson White, filming that moment was unforgettable, even though he was battling the flu at the time. The production required multiple takes to capture everyone's reactions, making it physically exhausting but creatively rewarding. Despite feeling sick, he described it as a fun and powerful scene to shoot. The wedding scenes also stood out as particularly memorable. There was an emotional undercurrent to those sequences, especially considering how long Bree had been holding on to certain secrets. Her quiet endurance and the fact that she had known the truth for years adds an eerie layer to her character. The actors joked about the complexity of female friendships and the hidden tensions that simmer beneath the surface. Bree's composure contrasts sharply with Steven's chaotic outbursts, making the finale feel both intimate and explosive at the same time. When it comes to Steven and Lucy, the debate becomes even heated. The question of whether anyone can still support the couple after everything that has happened sparks disagreement. Steven's actions, including coercion, manipulation, and blackmail involving the tape, feel unforgivable to many viewers. Lucy was forced into a humiliating situation that Steven later weaponized against her. For some, that crosses a line that cannot be redeemed. Yet there remains a complicated pull between them. As toxic as they are, there's an undeniable chemistry that makes their scenes compelling. Lucy's realization in the final moments of the season is what truly defines the ending. She recognizes the cycle she's been trapped in and finally understands that Steven will never change. That awareness creates a strange sense of hope. Instead of clinging to illusions, she appears to accept reality. Grace Van Patten shared that she loves the ending because it feels freeing. Lucy's laugh in the final scene carries layers of emotion, pain, clarity, and perhaps even empowerment. It suggests that she may finally be stepping out of Steven's shadow. The possibility of a future season naturally came up during the conversation. If there were a season 4 of Tell Me Lies, both actors expressed interest in exploring the 6-year gap between college and the wedding. That period remains largely unexplored, and it holds enormous storytelling potential. Viewers would likely be eager to see how the characters evolved outside the intense bubble of campus life. What happens when they enter the real world? Who do they become when college drama is no longer the center of their existence? Beyond romantic entanglements, there is curiosity about each character's individual journey. Jackson White mentioned wanting to see what Lucy's life looks like outside of this toxic circle. College often magnifies relationships, but adulthood brings new pressures and opportunities. Exploring their careers, friendships, and personal growth beyond the familiar setting could add depth to the story. A destination wedding season, as jokingly suggested, might even offer a fresh backdrop while keeping the emotional stakes high. Despite portraying one of television's most dysfunctional couples, Grace Van Patten and Jackson White maintain a positive and joyful working relationship in real life. Transitioning from intense, emotionally dark scenes back to normal life is surprisingly manageable for them. They describe the experience as simply acting, a creative process they enjoy, rather than something that lingers heavily once cameras stop rolling. While the first season may have required more emotional adjustment, they now feel comfortable stepping in and out of the characters' toxic dynamic. There's even a sense of fun in portraying such flawed individuals. Acting really toxic, as they joked, allows them to explore dramatic extremes in a safe and collaborative environment. The set environment remains supportive and friendly, which helps balance the heavy themes depicted on screen. Instead of carrying the darkness home, they leave it behind at work, appreciating the craft and the friendships formed through the series. Ultimately, the series finale of Tell Me Lies delivers what fans have come to expect: emotional intensity, shocking confrontations, and morally complex choices. Lucy's journey towards self-awareness offers a glimmer of growth, even if her path remains uncertain. Steven's destructive tendencies are fully exposed, leaving viewers to grapple with whether redemption is even possible. Meanwhile, Bree and Wrigley provide a contrasting dynamic that feels unexpectedly hopeful amid the wreckage. As the interview with E.T. reveals, the cast shares the audience's fascination with these characters. They understand why viewers feel divided, passionate, and sometimes frustrated. That emotional investment is proof of how deeply the show resonates. By blending romance, betrayal, and psychological tension, Tell Me Lies has carved out a distinctive space within Hulu's lineup. Whether or not another season materializes, the finale stands as a powerful chapter in Lucy and Steven's tumultuous story. It captures the messy reality of loving someone who may never be good for you, and the painful growth that comes from finally seeing the truth. For Grace Van Patten and Jackson White, the ending is not just dramatic, it's meaningful. It represents a turning point, both for their characters and for the narrative as a whole. In the end, the show leaves viewers with questions rather than neat resolutions. Are Lucy and Steven truly finished, or is the cycle destined to repeat? Can Bree and Wrigley build something lasting from a flawed foundation? And what does adulthood hold for each of them beyond the chaos of college? These lingering uncertainties are part of what makes Tell Me Lies so compelling. The story refuses to offer easy answers, instead reflecting the complicated, often painful reality of young love and personal growth. As fans continue to debate teams and rewatch the finale, one thing is clear: the conversation surrounding Tell Me Lies is far from over. The performances by Grace Van Patten and Jackson White have solidified the series as one of the most talked about dramas on Hulu, and their candid reflections only deepen appreciation for the work behind the scenes. If the finale proves anything, it's that sometimes the most powerful endings are the ones that leave room for possibility and just a hint of hope.
For full video, click related link below or like and subscribe this channel.